everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing something that I have been wanting to do for a long time, and that is going to be a drag race review. But it's actually not going to be drag race, it's going to be the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans Season 2. So I've always wanted to do some kind of like drag race review. I've tried it a few times, but it just never really worked out. And I wanted to try it out with Boulet Brothers Dragula, since it's also one of my favorite like drag related shows. And I also got a comment about it, and I was like, that gave me kind of the motivation to be like, hey, why not give it a try. Also, these videos are going to be more of a soft-spoken kind of vibe. It's not going to be like full-on whispering, because I feel like it'll also be kind of more inviting to people who don't like ASMR, like the full whispering. But this is more just going to be like lightly talking and chatting rather than just like whispering. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. And for the schedule with these videos, I am going to be trying to get them out every Friday. So be excited for that, because these videos are probably going to be probably be like some most like work intensive when it comes to my other videos. So yeah, like, hope you guys like them. And a few disclaimers before I get started on these is that, one, these videos are not meant to be very not supposed to be disrespectful. So if you guys have, these are like my opinions, if you guys have any disagreements, it's fine, but just please don't be rude in the comments. And this also means for the queens as well. If like for any reason a queen from one of the season, from one of the like episodes, or a queen from the show like here's like my opinions or anything, I just want to make it clear that these videos are not meant to be disrespectful to their drag, their artistry. This is just giving my opinions. They are doing a much better job than I am right now, but I wanted to review it, give my opinions on it. But I love all the queens, all the monsters, all the drag in these shows. So definitely, if you guys see any of these like monsters on the show, please give them a follow, support them, because this is definitely like an amazing opportunity, especially since they are coming back to the show. But yeah, and also, quick thing, if anyone has not seen Dragula before but seen Drag Race, but it's basically like a drag style competition show mixed with kind of like Fear Factor. That's what I've kind of heard. It's not supposed to be like Drag Race, but they had some like few inspirations like recently, but it's very much its own thing. It features a lot more alternative drag, and I always really love that. The alternative fun queens are always something that I really like to enjoy seeing from Drag Race and just drag in general. But yeah, so now with all that out of the way, let's get started with the review. So the episode starts with the Boulet brothers talking about like bringing back the queens and the monsters and stuff like that, and then we start with the entrances. And I actually have some notes here. I actually put down notes and stuff, and I'm just going to be going in order of the entrances, and I'm just going to be giving my opinions. So they start with Frankie Doom, and they are from season 1 and the Resurrection, which was kind of like their first version of All Stars, where they had a bunch of monsters compete to a bunch of challenges. It was like a 1 episode thing, and the winner of that would be able to go on to the next season and compete. And Frankie Doom competed on season 1 of Dragula and Resurrection, and I really love Frankie Doom. They were one of my favorites in the first season. They are so amazing, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. Next up is Jaharia, which is from the most recent season, season 6, and I also really love Jaharia. Jaharia was such a fun powerhouse in the season. They didn't really have, like, they've had some fumbles at, like, closer to the end of the end of their run. I think they just kind of had a hard time with maybe some of their looks and just like not really following the challenge very well. But their performance style is really amazing, really fun, very high energy, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. Next is Priscilla Chambers, which is another queen that I loved from their original season. They were on season 3 and also Resurrection, and they are trans now. They are like a full-time tattoo artist, but also still a drag queen. I really love them. I love them so much in their season. They just had like a really fun personality. Kind of just gives me kind of like kind of reminds me of a few of my family members that are like on my mom's side of the family, and I just kind of love her so much, and I am excited to see what she does. Hopefully she goes far. Then Dahlia Black. Dahlia Black she was amazing on her season, but she wasn't like one of my favorites. I just kind of thought she kind of more implemented a lot of like pretty drag, but also like made it like kind of monster. But she is also a powerhouse in her original season. She made it to top 3. She did amazing on her season, and I am kind of excited to see. And she is also, I believe, like drag related to the winner from the original Titans, Victoria Elizabeth Black, because their last names are both have the word Black in it, but I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. All right, next, this one is another favorite of mine, Cynthia Doll. Cynthia Doll just has this like really fun, ditzy personality. I loved them on their original season, and I also watched their Dragula season 6 review, and that was also really fun. I loved watching them in their original season. They were fun, they were loud, they were funny. I just love like those really big personalities that are just like really loud, really fun, and just like overall just a really good time. So I am really excited, and hopefully that they'll be able to win a challenge. And also, yeah, I'm just really excited. And then Blackberry, another season 5 queen. I also really love them. They are also a bearded drag queen, which I also love seeing. I love seeing like different types of drag. Like I follow Lucy Stool as well, and they are also like a really fabulous bearded drag queen. And Blackberry was also a really crazy powerhouse. I just kind of think maybe closer to the end of her run, she kind of flopped a little bit, but overall, I'm also really excited. They are an extremely polished drag queen, and I'm excited to see their amazing looks on this season. Next is JK, which is like funny because they're kind of maybe seen a little bit of the opposite of Blackberry. They, on their original season, it was very like punky and like very like not homemade, but very much like they built up a lot of their drag out of like different pieces rather than having like really big like designer made pieces. They would make things out of things they already have, and I would not say it was homemade. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful, but it's very much like handcrafted, very much like in the style of kind of like old school drag, I would say, because it's very much handcrafted. And they also were very, very polarizing. They had a lot of drama with especially Cynthia Doll on their original season. But I am really excited to see what they turn out, because they were also one of my favorites from season 5. And then La Zawaleta from season 4 comes out, and I was like, oh my goodness, I am both not ready but also excited for the drama that's going to be happening. And I watched the trailer for the Titans trailer, and Zawaleta is going to be a crazy, it's going to be a crazy drama factory between her and like JK on the season. But let's see how she goes. Her, like, I would say, like, I'm not talking about their entrance looks, but I just want to talk about this one. She comes out with a towel, which I think is just a little weird, because like you're supposed to, like you're on Titans, you're supposed to show like an elevated version of yourself, and you come out in a towel. Like maybe hopefully she'll have like better looks coming along, like closer and closer throughout the season. But I just kind of feel like I really want to see more from La Zavaleta, because they were like crazy talented on the original season, but just seeing them come out in a towel was kind of disappointing. Then Loris was like the original drama queen from season 1. She like was very well known for like her big speech where they were like, it was like an extermination challenge and they were eating like pig brains, and she like did this whole speech about being vegan, and then like taking off like her like face prosthetics and then eating the pig brains, which is like crazy. But now I feel like she's kind of like more like, kind of gives me a little bit of like Priscilla, where she's just like, she's kind of fun and free. Maybe we'll see some like drama from her, but we'll see. She's kind of like really funny and kind of ditzy. And then Disasterina. Disasterina is such a character, and I love it. Disasterina comes out, she's from season 2, and she was like some of the most like out there concepts when it comes to her looks. It's just so amazing. I love her artistry, and she was also one of my favorites from season 2, and I'm super excited to see what she's gonna do this season. Then Julie, she was a polarizing figure from season 4, because she was actually originally on Drag Race season 5, I believe, and she was on season 4, I believe, of Dragula, and then now transitioned, and now she has like this full-blown transformation where now she's like super confident and ready to like back up herself, because she did in season 4, but she was kind of still a little bit like meek about like some parts, but now she's like fully blown transformation. Now she's like ready to fight anyone that gets like on her nerves. And then next is probably one of the most anticipated queens on Titans, and that is Sigourney Beaver. Sigourney Beaver is the only like cis woman drag queen, I believe. One of the like few that were on Dragula that wasn't like a drag king. And Sigourney was like one of the huge fan favorites of Dragula. I loved her. I honestly wanted her to win season 4 so badly, along with Hoso Teratoma, who was on the first season of Titans. But I am so excited to see what she does. She's just so polished. I just love her style of drag. It's like so beautiful, but also still elevated and crazy and fun. So I'm really excited to see what she's going to do this season. And Eva Destruction. Eva Destruction, I feel like she's been on season 3 and Titans 1. So I'm like kind of interested in seeing like, oh, like is she gonna show us something like really different from her first 2 seasons that she's been on? A lot of the queens and monsters were talking about like, why is Eva here? Like, wasn't she already here the last time? So we'll see. Maybe she like will do much better this time around, because she did really good in her original season and on Titans. I believe she made it to the end, or I think she like got eliminated like the last episode. But we'll see. Maybe like she'll do like much better. And then Bora, the last contestant coming into the main stage, and she is probably the most polarizing figure in this entire cast. One, she was like a drama machine both times that she was on Dragula, and she was also on Dragula twice already. Same with Eva Destruction, but Bora was on season 2 and Titans 1. So it was, I'm like really excited that Bora is one of my also favorites. She was like one of my tops for Titans 1. I don't really remember much from like season 1 and 2, but I remember she did really well for a lot of her season, and it feels like she is going to be having some drama with some of the queens. I believe specifically maybe like Dahlia. But a lot of the queens, when she came in, were like, why is she even here? Like, people were joking that she was kind of like one of the jujubes of Dragula, because for anyone that doesn't know, jujube is a drag queen from Drag Race, and she was on so many seasons of Drag Race that she was just like, oh, like whenever she gets a call, she'll go. But yeah, so that is all the queens that come in, and the Boulets announced the first challenge, and that is going to be the haunted house party from Dragula Titans season 1. They're doing a second iteration of this challenge, and they have to basically make their own version of a iconic Halloween costume. And Abora was kind of pointing out, because Abora did not do really well in that challenge and actually got eliminated on that challenge. And because Abora just like went, like in a lot of her challenges, went so far left in her original season that like no one really knew what she was doing. But hopefully she does really better this time around with that challenge. And then we go into the cauldron. So I have some like really big moments from the cauldron. So everyone's just having fun, talking, and then Disasterina opens up with the big question to Abora, why are you here? And Abora just kind of says like, I don't know, ask the Boulets and stuff like that. Just kind of, I feel like being a little bit self-defeatist, but also being kind of like very unserious. Being like, oh, I feel like she could have said like, oh, well, I'm here because I really wanted to prove myself now that I'm like out of like, because Abora was like stuck in this really weird love triangle between Astrid Aurelia, Jose Teratomen, and herself Abora. And I feel like now that she's out of that situation, she can finally now like really show what she can bring as a Titan compared to like season 1 of Titans. But she kind of just was a little bit unserious, which kind of like ticked some of the queens off, especially Dahlia Black, because she was like, why are you like, you're still being the same thing, I haven't really seen anything like new from you. And like, I feel like, yeah, maybe a little bit, but I'm excited to see what Abora's doing. And then and I feel like Priscilla is giving very much like, in a good way, like all drag is valid. Like she's saying like, oh, like I'm excited to see what Abora is doing, like everyone deserves to be here, and like everyone's a powerhouse and all that stuff, which I feel like it's really good, because like I feel like no one should be like putting down another person just because if they've come back already or they didn't really do that great in the challenge. Everyone deserves to be there. Everyone was picked and asked to be back on Titans. So yeah. And then they also ask Eva why she's also here, and then Eva kind of answers like what I wanted from Abora, but she kind of answered like, well, I evolve every single time that I've been here. I've evolved enough, and I really want to show this next stage of Eva Destruction. But yeah. So yeah, we'll see like, oh, did Eva like really evolve from her original season and Titans, or maybe did she kind of stay stagnant and stay the same? And then drama ensues already between JK and La Zavaleta, because I guess there was some like feud that they had. They used to be friends in Brooklyn, and then JK kind of slides at Zavaleta because of her wearing basically a towel, like bedazzled robe on like coming into Titans, and I kind of agreed with JK being like, why are you coming into Titans looking like that, and saying that Zavaleta's drag has always been kind of basic and kind of streetwear and not really up to par with a lot of other like Dragula queens and monsters. And then next we they ask like, oh, who's your biggest competition? And Jade says Eva Destruction, and then Blackberry says Sigourney, and then Sigourney gives like a pageant answer where it's like, oh, I'm like my own biggest competition, and then Laura says the same thing. And then Zavaleta, instead of answering the questions, he says that Jaharia was not her favorite, even though Jaharia also says, you are wearing a bedazzled towel. But yeah, and also it just kind of looks like it's gonna be JK versus Zavaleta and Cynthia, because Cynthia also starts an argument with JK, and it's just, we'll see how it goes, because watching the trailer, it's gonna get crazy. And then Vanderpump Odd comes in, winner of season 1, and she announces, people thought, oh, like, oh my god, is she gonna be coming back to the competition? But no, she's gonna be the Exorcister, which is basically just kind of like the mediator for the Titans, like, challenges, like the Fright Beats. And she announces the first Fright Beat is gonna be picking a pin out of a voodoo doll, and the person that gets the red tipped pin gets to pick a queen to go up for extermination before deliberation even starts. And Dahlia Black picks the red pin, and everyone's just like, oh my god. And Dahlia's like, ooh, like, who am I gonna pick? Because, like, you can definitely pick like a heavy hitter and like put them up for extermination, or you can just like be cordial and think like, oh, the worst person is gonna be going home. And then now we get separated into teams. Team 1 is Disasterina, Loris, and Frankie Doom. Disasterina, Loris, Frankie Doom, and Abora. And they seem to be doing really well. They're like, Abora is the team leader, like, surprisingly, and they seem to be doing really well. And then Dahlia Black, J. Jolie, and Priscilla Chambers are in team 2, and they're not very as like neat of a team. Like, Priscilla's like walking around talking to people, and even J. Jolie and Dahlia are talking to each other, not really focusing on their choreography and stuff like that. And then team 3 is Cynthia, Doll, Blackberry, Jaharia, and JK. And JK seemed to kind of take the choreographer role, doing a lot of the choreography, especially for the second part. And I think maybe like Blackberry and Jaharia are doing a lot. And then I think Cynthia Doll is just kind of there for fun. And then team 4 is Eva's Destruction, La Zavaleta, and Sigourney Beaver. And Zavaleta is kind of taking the leader role, with Eva Destruction putting in some work too, and Sigourney kind of being on the background. Maybe because Sigourney, whenever she was in the team leader role, she was always like picked on for not being a team leader. And then Zavaleta is still like, oh, like, she's just like standing there, which maybe, yeah, maybe you should contribute a bit to your team. Also, like, I feel like Sigourney's like trying to like not step on any toes, but I don't know. And then we go into, let's see, we go into the final cauldron, and they get like free Black Moon Cosmetics stuff. I didn't really like this actually, because it's like, oh my god, I love Black Moon Cosmetics. It was very much giving like ad read for this stuff, like, and I'm pretty sure it's like probably really good stuff, but just like, it's a little weird. And then we find out from Dahlia that Jade and Priscilla may be taking a few mini swigs of liquid courage while trying to get through rehearsal. And then like Jade and Priscilla were saying like, oh, we took like only like one like drink. And then but like Dahlia saying like, oh, they were like drinking a lot and like not really focusing on their their progress. And then we find out like, oh, like people ask like, oh, Dahlia, who do you think you're gonna pick for the voodoo doll? And Dahlia kind of hints at wanting to pick Eva, because Eva's like the biggest competition. And then we find out actually too that Dahlia does not like someone on the cast. We hear that from Jaharia, so maybe it's Eva, maybe it's Sigourney. We won't know. They just like say like, oh, hint at it. And then we go on to the challenge. First we meet the judges. Boulet. First we'll start with the Boulets. The Boulet brothers look so good. It looks like it's very much their silhouette. Big collars, black and orange. Very much loving the outfits of the Boulets. And then we see Victoria Elizabeth Black, and I don't know. I don't know if she was wearing black light makeup, because I kind of see a little bit of like black light like glowing on her, but I don't know, but she did look really good. And then we have David Desmelchian, I believe that's the name. I'm sorry if I got that incorrect. But he is a very much reoccurring judge on this season. He's always gives really good critiques, and I do really like him. He's like very charming and very nice to a lot of the queens. Alright, so now let's get on with the looks. I'm not really going to be talking much about the challenge until like the judging, but I'm going to be more talking about the looks of the monsters and the looks in the challenge. So first, let's start off with Team 1, and let's start off with Abora. Abora did a scarecrow, and I do really love this. Very much different from her Titans 1 look, which was supposed to be, I remember it was supposed to be some kind of cryptid the first time around, but this time she did went for something a lot more, like you can instantly tell, and it was a scarecrow, and I think it was looking really cool. And yeah, very much big step up from her original season on Titans. And then Frankie Doom is next, and Frankie Doom did a werewolf, and I will say there were many werewolves on this challenge, but Frankie Doom's werewolf is giving very much like a little bit furry, I would say. Like, I have nothing against furries whatsoever. One of my friends I knew from college was a furry, which is this kind of gave him as like furry, and I think it was like, it's really cool. I love the purple, obviously, but I do love the purple. It was like really cool. But yeah, next up we have Loris, which was a skeleton. In the cauldron, Loris was talking about like, paying homage to like a lot of the Boulets, like skeleton looks, I believe, on the Kelly Clarkson show, and also on season 6 of Dragula. And I do really like how this looks. I feel like it's a little bit expected of a skeleton look, skeleton mixed with drag, but I do really love it. It's like very glittery, very fun, but I do really like it. And then next we have Disasterina. Oh my god, Disasterina did a sorceress, and she did this look based on her a dress her mom wore to like a picnic like event thing when they would go to as a kid, and it's like one of my favorite looks on this episode. It's like my favorite look of the episode. I love how she looks. It's so fun. I just love the very much like sorcery, the moons, the stars, the magical elements of it, and the makeup was so good. Honestly, like, I felt like they should have won this challenge. Alright, now on to Team 2. We have Dahlia Black, which is supposed to be a Cyclops, I guess. She did, it was like this, like, kind of pinky, purpley, girly kind of look with this, like, I will say, for how much, like, I wasn't the biggest fan of this look, her makeup, the prosthetics, the headpiece, everything was just so pretty, but I felt like it kind of wasn't the greatest. Like, she had a unicorn horn, she had wings. It was just a kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge of different things, like with the Cyclops mixed with a unicorn mixed with a gargoyle. Like, I don't really know, but it was like the makeup was good, the prosthetics was good, but just the kind of the look was just not up to par with that. Like, just like the head part was nice, but the rest of the outfit wasn't really my favorite. And next is J. Jolie, and she was supposed to be, I guess, the Wicked Witch of the West, or just like maybe a witch in general. And what's my favorite? It just kind of looked like if she was actually going to a Halloween party. Like, and I will talk about, this is the only time I'll talk about like the challenge. She did not know much of the word. She was just kind of like kind of like mumbling a lot. Like I love Jade, but this was just kind of disappointing, especially when you've like built yourself up to be like this like crazy powerhouse now, but like you kind of fumbled a little bit, and like her body wasn't really fully painted. You could see like kind of most like the upper arm wasn't really fully painted, and she had like sparkly gloves, but also didn't, like, they were like fingerless. Just I think the look in general wasn't really that good. I think the best look of the group was honestly Priscilla Chambers. She also did this kind of disco groovy Farrah Fawcett kind of like disco look. Even though probably Farrah Fawcett wasn't around in disco, but like very much just like disco chick werewolf type of deal. I feel like she had the most subtle werewolf. Like if you looked at it far away, you kind of just looked like maybe she had like mud on her face. But she was also a werewolf. I think the look was cute, but I feel like in this group the looks weren't like the greatest, but they were still fine. Like, well, besides maybe Jade, like the other looks were like pretty good. And then next up for team 3, we'll start with Blackberry. Blackberry did a mummy. Oh my god, this was another one of my favorite looks of this episode. So polished, so amazing. The makeup looked amazing. Everything just looked so polished. I would say definitely out of the 3 teams, team 3 was probably had the most polished costumes and drag out of all of them. But Blackberry was just super good, super polished, and another one of my favorites of this episode. Next we have Jaharia, which is a Black Widow. Another really polished look. I love the outfit, love the makeup. Just the one thing, I feel like spider looks never really go that great because I feel like the legs always look a little off. Like this one, the kind of like legs were kind of like janky and not that great. But I still really loved it, even though the legs were like a little bit out of place, but still really loved it. Really amazing look. And then we have JK, which was the 3rd werewolf. There were 3 werewolves in this episode, but JK did very much like another neon-y, like really crazy hair, like this kind of like more like traditional like werewolf with like the tartan or like the, I don't know, is it flannel type of deal. I love the fur, super colorful, very much giving like what JK drag is really like. And then we have Cynthia Doll, which I feel like was probably the weakest look. Still looked amazing. The look itself was good, but she was supposed to be a vampire, and I would have really gotten vampire if she didn't show the teeth. Like she like came out and was like, oh, what's she gonna be? And then like she opened her mouth and like she had vampire teeth. And I feel like I didn't really like that aspect of it, but the red look by itself was still really good. But I feel like for giving vampire, it missed the mark a little bit. And then team 4, the final team, we have Sigourney Beaver, which was a devil or a demon, and she looked really good. Blue outfit. I feel like red and blue is kind of like a kind of like underrated combination. It looks so beautiful, but her makeup was kind of a little bit flat. Like she didn't really do a lot of contouring. Her body paint looked really good. She did a body paint on like her original season. She did like a blue body paint, which didn't look that great. She obviously stepped up, but she didn't really do a lot of like contour. She could have done like some black or maybe some like really deep reds or berries to contour, rather than it just kind of looks a little bit fun. She did have like a bright like glittery under eye, but like besides that, but the look was super polished. She was like had like no waist. She had like this blue stole, but honestly really good. And then next up we have Eva Destruction, and I will say Eva Destruction, her look was good, but I feel like I've seen her do that kind of look before. I feel like it's not really like it's elevated, but it's kind of what I've seen Eva Destruction do before. Very much like crazy makeup. The outfit wasn't the greatest. It kind of just felt like a robe with like a big hood. It was still good. It was still really polished, but it was just not my favorite. I feel like there was like a lot of really good looks. And she was also the 2nd skeleton. We have 2 skeletons, a couple repeats, but I feel like it's not really that big of a deal. Now on to La Zavaleta, the weirdest look of the night. She, I guess, was supposed to be a ghost, but it did not give me ghost at all. The makeup was really good. I didn't really like the makeup on La Zavaleta. It kind of gave me Junji Ito a little bit. Like if she had like a white face, it would very much like Junji Ito. Like it reminded me of like this manga from Junji Ito, which is called The Crow Girl. It kind of reminded me of that. But I guess she was supposed to be a ghost, or like one of the Boulet said like, oh, like Nosferatu's like girlfriend or something. I don't know, but it was like not my favorite look of the night. It was just kind of bland and basic compared to like all the other looks on this episode and the challenge in general. But that is all for the challenge. I feel like overall the challenge was really cute. It was really fun. I love when they kind of do like more fun, campy stuff. Like this. Like sometimes they can do like really serious, scary, brutal challenges, but also sometimes it can be like really fun and really like go out of the box. And I feel like this was like really good. Now on to deliberations. The Boulet is just like a little like deliberation just by themselves, and they talked about how much. So the things they talked about was like they really liked Team 1. They were surprised that Abora really stepped up and changed a lot and became like a leader in this challenge. They do call out Jade's lip sync, how it wasn't like really that good. They did really that good. They didn't follow the song or the song that well. And then they really loved Team 3. They loved how polished they look, and they had like the best team energy out of the 3 teams. But they thought that Team 4 had the best choreography, but they do also call out Zavaletta's look. But like, oh, like they said like, oh, like is she supposed to be like, I heard it was supposed to be like Nosferatu's like bride or something, and then they like had like a little text that said like, oh, they misheard, it was supposed to be like Nosferatu's girlfriend or something. And now on to the judging. Some standouts. They say Abora did really well, but actually they start off with Dahlia. They ask like, oh, Dahlia, who do we want to put on to extermination? And she actually does Abora, which is crazy. But she does bring up what she said in the cauldron, where she said like she isn't really gonna bring anything new, and it was just like it sucked. But actually in the judging, they say that Abora was actually the big standout of their group, and I was really happy about that because I love Abora. I root for Abora, and I was like really happy that she was able to step up to the plate. And they do kind of say like, oh, like you didn't really have that really great of choreography, but I feel like everyone did. They said that everyone did really well. And then they talk about Jade's lip sync. Priscilla gets the best critiques out of the second group. They then go on to Team 3, and they said that they had like the best synergy. They say to Jaharia that she did really well. The camera loves her. She had like really amazing energy, and she was like at 100 the entire time. And then next, Team 4, they say they had the best choreography, kind of the same things that they talked about in the deliberation. And they never actually call out Zavaletta's look that much. They just ask her like, oh, who she is, and she was like, oh, I'm like a ghost, boo, like that Mean Girls reference. And they talk about Sigourney's makeup, how it's kind of flat, but they do really, really praise Eva for her look, which I feel like her look was great, but I don't feel like it was the greatest. And then they announced the winner, and the winner is Eva Destruction. There was the tops of Abora, Blackberry, Jaharia, and Eva, and they picked Eva. But I feel like it should have been either Blackberry or Jaharia. I feel like it probably should have gone to Jaharia. Jaharia had one of the best looks. She had the best camera presence, but I guess Eva also was good. And then they announced, we're not choosing who's going home tonight. You are. So every team has to vote for the weakest person in their group, and they have to put them up for extermination. So then go into the cauldron, and immediately stuff starts going down with Team 2. How Priscilla talks about Dahlia, and then Dahlia starts putting Jade and Priscilla under the bus because of their alleged drinking that they did. And it just got really crazy. And then they talked about, and then Team 3 started talking about, like, oh, like JK brought up, like, oh, it's probably either going to be me or Cynthia, because Blackberry and Jaharia did so good that they don't really deserve to be in that position. So it was like really scary. And everything just kind of starts going on, and then big thing. Zavaleta says that she's going to pick Sigourney as the person that is going to be up for extermination, which is crazy. And then Eva also says Sigourney, that she was going to pick Sigourney, which is also crazy because I'm like, you have Zavaleta right there who did not do great at the challenge, was probably the weakest in the challenge. But I guess it was supposed to be like, oh, like trying to break her. I guess because I guess maybe her is like, she's not like, she's being very much like, oh, like you can't touch me, like I'm above everyone else. Which I'm like, kind of like, okay, like you're on Titans, everyone should really kind of feel like that. But I don't know. But yeah, like there was a lot of argument going on. And then Eva goes, talks to Sigourney in private, and Eva kind of just says like, oh, like I just want to see you kind of sweat a little bit. And like Sigourney was like questioning Eva, like, are you sure, is that what you really want to do? And I'm just like, well, yeah, like really, do you want to like go down that route? But I guess Eva did. And then they go back to the main stage and they pick the team. They pick the person that's going to be in the bottom. And team 1, besides, I think, Frankie Doom gets the most votes. So Frankie's going to be in the bottom with Abora. And then Dahlia gets picked by Jade and Priscilla. And then I believe Dahlia picked Jade. And then team 4, it was a tie between JK and Cynthia, and the Boulets had Jaharia and Blackberry choose, and they chose Cynthia to be in the bottom, which was like kind of a gag, which is crazy. But they did not like having to do that decision. It was like they were like really upset about it. And then Sigourney gets put up for elimination as well. But the Boulets also say, we are going to be picking someone out of the 5. Do not be eliminated. And they choose Sigourney. So Eva and Zavaleta's plan did not work. So now on to the extermination. And the extermination is basically they are going to have to go to the bridge to nowhere and do bungee jumping. And that is crazy. I've never done bungee jumping before, and I feel like I have a bit of a fear of bungee jumping for the fact that I feel like the thing is gonna snap. Like bungee is gonna snap. So I would definitely not want to do that. But if I was in the competition, I would just kind of have to. But everyone does the bungee jumping. It was Frankie Doom, Abora, Dahlia, and let's see. It was Dahlia and what was it? It was Cynthia. But yeah, they all did the bungee jumping, but we didn't get to see an elimination. We're probably going to see the elimination next week, which is kind of giving me like Project Runway type of vibes. But who do I think is going to go home? I feel like it's going to be Frankie, because they're not going to want to kick out Abora, because Abora did the best, so Abora is not going to be going home. I feel like they're not going to do Cynthia, because Cynthia is also a really big fan favorite, and then Dahlia is also a really big fan favorite as well. So I feel like Frankie is kind of the odd one out in this situation, but I hope no one goes home this time around. But yeah, so that is it for this first review of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans Season 2. I know this video went on for so long. This is probably the longest video I've ever done. And it's probably going to be the most work. Oh my god, I'm not excited to edit this video. But let me know, you guys. Do you guys have any opinions of this episode? Do you guys even watch Dragula? Give me like your opinions, like, oh, did you guys like this video? Give me some suggestions on how I can kind of fix it for next time. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow all my socials down in the doobly-doo. Without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a nice and safe day. Bye.